Hey guys, welcome back to Ranger Survival and Fieldcraft. I'm Andrew, and what I have for you today is a look at our patrol bag survival kit. Stand by. Alright, so a 3-day assault pack. This is just one of the many versions that I have and that I recommend to people, is having an assault bag that fits you, obviously, but then having one that's got a lot of exterior pouches. That way we can grab teen items we're going to need all the time while we're out in the field. We have a Claymore pouch or a utility pouch right here that we can grab. Right now it's just got a fresh out of the box Alpine GSI kettle because I needed to replace mine, so I've got a fresh one here that we're going to burn in. I've also got small pouches down here that we can use to put shelter items or utility items. We also have straps in the waistband around this pouch since there's nothing in it but a TTP, or a recommendation just taking the waistband, wrap it reverse side around the pack as it sits, and then strap it up with the other utility straps that go down through this Alice webbing that we have down here. That way it's secure, and we can actually get to the waistband if we need it to wrap it around our waist if we're climbing up a mountain or crossing some sort of water obstacle and need to secure our gear to our body to prevent loss of our gear. But we have an admin pouch as well. We can put different items in here: map, compass, protractor, notebooks, utility items, or administrative items. A small main pouch that we can use to put clothing items, as well as chow or anything we need to grab and exchange one for one quickly. So we have that big main pouch where you can put all our shelter items and many survival items or larger items that we want to take as part of our kit. And then even exterior drink pouches. We can use these for our water bottle or canteen. These are also great for keeping tools or spare tools or smaller tools that we're going to need while we're out here to craft different things off the landscape, like a folding saw, as well as extra supplies or snacks. And then we even have straps where you can attach things to the outside of this 3-day assault pack. And one of the best parts is it's jumpable. We have the actual eyelets in here where we can strap up with this and jump this bag out of a high-speed aircraft if we're making an airborne insertion, whatever it is. But this bag is a Tactical Tailor, very nice 3-day assault pack. The only thing I don't like about it is that it tends to extend out like this, and so when we put it on the ground, it tends to want to lean forward and kind of roll like this. Good for a rucksack flop if we want to take a knee or sit on our rear. But the bag itself is still a good bag, jumpable, very versatile, a lot of exterior pouches, which is what we should have for a 3-day assault bag or patrol bag or a go bag. Another thing that's somewhat unique with this bag is that we take out the components in our main compartment, our patrol bag. You'll see inside there's actually orange in there, and what we can do with that is actually turn this bag inside out and make it a signal. We turn all the pockets inside, that orange is going to stand outside, and then we can actually use it as a marker or a signal to signal search and rescue aircraft, signal friendly forces, whatever it is. But we have that orange panel on the inside, which is part of the Tactical Tailor 3-day assault pack setup. So at least we have that orange signal in there that we can actually even take out and use as a panel or a marker. And as you can see, we have that nice orange panel on the inside. This is the back, and then this is the actual bottom. So we have a way to throw out a signal or mark our location, whatever we need to do. But a bright orange panel like this attached to the backpack that we can just simply turn inside out, put it down, and have a signal. Another multifunctional item or versatility of our kit, especially with a backpack like this. Alright guys, so what I thought we'd do today is have more of a discussion video. Typically it's instructional or demonstration or some sort of kit layout. We're going to kind of combine all of that, and we're going to talk about something that could be referred to as our patrol bag survival kit. Now, a patrol bag, a go bag, bug out bag, 72-hour bag, 3-day bag, assault bag, they all mean the same thing. What I'm referring to is a bag that we take outside the wire on a patrol for a day or up to 3 days. It's our patrol bag. And so mission essential equipment is going to go in this bag. Things like more ammunition, water. We're going to have batteries, radio communications equipment, laser, optics, have explosives, if we're carrying claymores or whatever it is, for whatever the purpose of the mission is outside that wire. It could be a presence patrol, could be route clearance, it could be an escort, a link up, sniper emplacement, but we're gonna have the majority of the items in this bag, mission essential items, which means a small portion of this bag, the volume in it, is going to be made up of things that we actually survive with if we expect to be stuck out or anticipate or plan to be stuck outside the wire longer than the mission actually calls for. And there have been plenty of times we've been outside the wire longer than we thought we had to and had to survive with basically what was in our pockets and then what was in our assault bag. And so that kind of brings in the items that we can pack. They're going to be basically our survival kit. They have to be small or at least packable and few in number because we're not going to need them as part of our mission, but we may actually have to use them to survive, so they need to be good items as well. And we're going to talk about those items right now. So when we talk about a patrol bag, we're going to go off of priorities as opposed to other mnemonics like the 5Cs or 10Cs. And we can boil down our basic survival kit into the first 4 priorities of survival, that being shelter, water, food, and then to a very low degree, fire. We should probably talk about tools. A good rule to have is to at least have some paracord as part of your kit, but then to also carry not only a small folding knife, or in this case a multi-tool, but then also a belt knife. And so we have basic tools that we can go to. A hank of paracord in our pockets, 10-15 feet is plenty. Some sort of multi-tool where we have a wide array of tools so we can manipulate not only natural materials but man-made materials as well if we have to. Plus the pliers give us an extra hand to grab something hot off the fire. And then a field knife or combat knife, something with a good grip that we can use to bash into material and manipulate material, but also do fine carving material as well. And it is a full tang knife, high carbon steel with a 90-degree edge spine, Scandi grind with somewhat of a flat finish. There is a micro bevel along the blade, relatively thick knife that we can use not only for batoning and taking down large material or felling trees, small trees anyway. We can also use this to split material and then do fine carving as well. We can also use the other blades on our multi-tool as fine carving tools, especially the saw, to cut and carve fine notches into material when we're trying to do a little bushcraft and survival in the field. Now we only have 4 priorities that we're paying attention to as part of this patrol bag. There are actually 7 priorities that we learned. That's fire, water, food, shelter, land navigation, medical aid, and signaling. Those last 3 land navigation items we're going to have on our kit. We're already going to have a compass, a protractor, and a map or a GPS. Medical aid items, we're already going to have an IFAK. We're already going to have a tourniquet. We're already going to have pressure dressings as part of our loadout on our rack as we fight. And then even signaling items, we're going to be expected to already have those items and carry those items as part of our kit, especially in the form of our assault bag with the orange panel on the inside. Or we carry a VS-17 panel, we're going to have a strobe on us, we're going to have chem lights, we're going to have wolf tails, we're going to have headlamps, flashlights, other signaling devices, plus our medic and our platoon sergeant or our first sergeant is also going to have those signaling devices for the casualty collection point, and we're going to have plenty of signals all over the battlefield and as part of our kit, which is why we only focus on those 4 main priorities, because those are the ones that we don't have packed for yet. And that number 1, that first priority of survival, especially with our patrol bag methodology, is going to be shelter. Now our patrol bag and bivy bag is just a sleeping bag setup. This is the bivy bag, the outside waterproof, still somewhat breathable material that we're going to use to protect ourselves from rain and from snowfall. This will keep us dry inside. Within the actual sleeping bag itself, or the bivy bag, we have the small green or the thin green sleeping bag. This is the patrol bag or the patrol sack or fart sack, and this goes on the inside. That way we have something warm to sleep in. And you'll notice we have the buttons right here where we've attached the bivy to the actual sleeping bag. So now we just have one zipper we need to get in or open up. You fold this thing open, roll inside, throw it back over top, and go to sleep. This is the fastest shelter that we can put up, which is why the military uses it. But for our patrol bag, even a bug out bag, we could use this for a 72-hour bag or a bug out bag because it's such an easy shelter. Stealth camping, this is a perfect shelter for stealth camp while it's still somewhat bulky in our bag. A similar product to this, a waterproof bivvy and a sleeping bag on the inside, is a very low profile shelter that is almost 100% complete. The only thing we need to add to this shelter, if we want to, we don't have to, but it makes for a more comfortable and enjoyable night, is vegetation and debris on the forest floor. That way to insulate ourselves from the cold ground, but then to also provide some cushion against that hard ground while we sleep. We can harvest this from either dead material like this or from green material and then make our bed or debris bed, browse bed, throw our bivvy sack and our patrol bag over top, and now we're ready for shelter. And it's very low to the ground, low profile, still waterproof, windproof, and it'll keep us warm in the night. We can just hop up in the morning then, pack this whole thing up, get rid of the debris, throw it off into the wood line, and be on our way. Our second priority, in not necessarily order because sometimes water will supersede shelter in the priorities of survival, but our second priority is going to be water. We'll already have water on our kit, on our plate carrier, or on our rack in the form of either another canteen or a Camelback water reservoir with a hose that we can drink from, so we'll have water with us already. But carrying water or a secondary container or some sort of water system as part of our patrol bag methodology is also incredibly important. Right here we have just a complete kit giving us the ability to, one, transport water and then make that water safe to drink through straining, creating an improvised filter, using chemical means to treat, as well as boiling or pasteurizing that water we collect to make it safe to drink and a lot more palatable. That first item is just going to be a canteen. This is just a Nalgene canteen. Having the ability to see the water inside the canteen can be a good thing. It can also be a bad thing if you see what you're about to drink after you've already treated that water. So sometimes having that dark OD green canteen is good, but having a clear canteen like this gives us the ability to see the water inside, especially in colder climates. If we're going to use this to actually turn upside down while we have water in it and then let it sit out overnight, or if it's going to get cold, that water at the top, now the bottom of our canteen, will turn into ice and expand, but we'll have fresh water that we can actually drink at the bottom once we flip this back over at night, and we can see that action with the ice occurring inside a Nalgene bottle or canteen like this that is somewhat transparent. But having the ability to transport water is incredibly important, so we have another water carrying device or container in the canteen. Next is going to be a canteen cup, as well as the old school standing stove that we can use to actually boil that water or boil a liquid, make a hot brew, make coffee, tea, hot cocoa, make medicine, whatever it is. This gives us the ability to actually stand this up over coals and cook more efficiently as opposed to putting the cup right inside the fire. But that metal canteen, you can see this one is well seasoned, well used, been through a lot of different training and a lot of boiling over fire, as well as cooking in the fire or creating things inside the actual container in fire. But that metal cup gives us the ability to boil water, the number one surefire way to treat that water and make it safe to drink. So we have that metal cup as well as the stove. They can fit right inside our canteen pouch. Next, just in the exterior pouch here, we have water treatment tablets. Water treatment tablets are the best way to treat water on the move if we don't have a filter. Chemical means of treatment still viable. We take these tablets, 2 tablets, into 1 U.S. quart or 1 liter, shake it up, wait about 5 minutes, unscrew the cap a little bit, and then let the water bleed around the serrations of the cap inside. Tighten it back up and let it sit for 30 minutes, and then it'll be safe to drink. But having small water purification tablets like this means we can fill up, treat that water while we're moving. About a half hour later, we'll have fresh water that we can drink and continue moving on to our next water source. And then on the other side, we can place more water tablets if we so choose. One thing to add that could be extremely helpful is just a military cravat. You could actually put 2 cravats or 3 in there, or figure out a way to carry more cravats and cross-load them in our pockets or in our assault bag or our patrol bag or in our rucksack, medical kits, wherever. But we can take this and actually turn it into a filter or improvised filter, and we can also use this as a pre-filter or a strainer to strain all the turbidity out of the water as we put it inside our canteen. That way we transport it back and we have somewhat clear water that we can then boil over a fire to make safe to drink. But having a cloth like this, multifunctional, and it can go as part of our water kit to help us create a strainer or a pre-filter. Now there are 2 ways that we're going to use these containers to actually transport water and then treat water, boil it, make it safe to drink. And that is either scooping the water out with our canteen cup and taking it directly back to the fire, or if we don't have that ability, we scoop it up, get it inside our canteen, and then take it to wherever we're going to have camp, start a fire, put it back in this if we don't chemically treat that water, and then treat it that way. So we have 2 different methods. One, now you'll notice the water is really clean and clear. We can see through it, so we don't need that cloth as a strainer. Now the first method that we have is we simply scoop up the water in our canteen cup and we move back to camp, boiling the water over the fire in the canteen cup to make it safe, thus saving our canteen. Now, that second method is we're going to put dirty water in our canteen. We just do the same thing. We can fill up our canteen cup and then simply pour the water inside of our canteen, keeping the mouth of the cup facing downstream so we don't get any turbidity in there, any dirt, rocks, or grass, what have you. And we fill it all the way up until it's full. We tighten the cap. Notice that I'll let the canteen cup fill up with water so it sits in the water. It's not going to flow downstream on me. And then we can just upend that or scoop up water, fill all of our containers now because we dirtied our canteen, and then take it back to camp so we can boil this and treat it over the fire, making it safe to drink. Apologies, the mic cut out as we were filming this part. We're just adding 2 tablets to our water, 2 tablets per U.S. quart to treat that water chemically. We add 2 tablets and then recap our jar of tablets, place it back inside the pouch. Close our canteen tight and we shake it up. Let those tablets begin to dissolve. As they dissolve, we just loosen the cap ever so slightly, upend the cap until there's water coming out, like that. This is called bleeding the cap. Get around the serrations inside the cap, so that water that's hiding in there in the serrations of the cap is going to be treated as well, so we don't drink dirty water as soon as we take a big gulp. And now all we have to do, keep shaking it up for a few seconds, let this sit, and in 30 minutes we'll have water that is potable, safe to drink, but it's not going to be the best stuff depending on the source you fill up in. All right, it's been more than 30 minutes since we chemically treated our water, so we'll give it a test here. It's still looking relatively clear inside, so I'm hoping those tabs are actually activated. I could see them dissolving in there, but maybe it's just our luck today. We'll find out. Definitely smells like chemicals. I've definitely had worse, that's for sure. It's not bad. Now, fire is a good survival priority, probably the best, most important survival priority because it does everything for us. However, with our patrol bag methodology, it's going to be at the bottom of the totem pole because it gives away our position. It sends up smoke, it sends up flames, it lights in the dark. People can see it and find a fire very easily. Next in order really should be food, and so we carry MREs or rations or snacks with us, lickies and chewies, out into the field or in our patrol bag or go bag, assault bag, something with enough calories to sustain us for that time period that we're outside the wire. And so MREs, meals ready to eat, or dehydrated food, as well as protein bars, energy bars, snacks, nuts, dried fruit are going to be great, especially granola bars, out when we're trying to maintain calorie intake while expending a lot of calories at the same time. Now, if we don't have MREs, we don't have any snacks with us, and we still have the ability to go after game on the field or find something that can be cooked over a fire and eaten, fire is going to be another good priority. We already have a way to stay warm. We already have a way to treat water, make it safe to drink. We already have a way to get out of the elements, and we already have other means to signal for rescue. So fire, especially with the patrol bag methodology, is going to be at the bottom of the list of survival priorities, most often because we're trying to avoid detection, or we just don't need a fire because we have everything else that we need. But with our fire, we have a teepee fire lit like this. This is not a concealed fire by any means, but a teepee fire lit like this illustrates how we can make an effective fire very easily. The wind is coming into our fire lay in the opening right here, where we're going to put our tinder that we actually light. So that oxygen is going to feed the flame, build up the fire for us. We strike this one time and we're done. All we have to do after that is add larger material, maintain and sustain this fire. We have extra tinder right here that we're going to mash up, light it underneath our fire lay, and that's going to light everything else. We're going to make this into our fine tinder. At the base of our fire, we actually have a platform of sticks to keep our fire up off the ground and protect it. We have tinder on the inside, and then smalls with medium to larger material over top in this teepee fire lay, once again facing the direction the wind is coming. So we set it and forget it. Now we obviously can carry lighters as a primary fire starting tool. A lot of people still smoke nowadays, so lighters are going to be important. Plus we can just grab one, wrap it with some tape, throw it in our pocket or our kit, and we have probably the best survival fire starting tool readily available, a lighter. The other item that is super reliable is just going to be some sort of ferro rod. This is a small ferro rod, and we've attached some paracord as a lanyard with just a nice carabiner or D-ring with a striker still from the box, so that way we have a striker if we don't have our knife, or if we drop this striker we can use our knife, or we can find a rock or a piece of glass or something sharp that will actually drive sparks off of this ferro rod as an improvised striker. But we want to go with at least a complete ferro rod with the actual striker, so we have it ready and we can use it at a moment's notice. Okay, here you go. Take that, we put it underneath and let it start to burn. You'll notice the direction of the wind and the smoke. We're not maintaining this fire at all. We're just letting it eat. That oxygen and the wind is going to help us get this fire started, and we got this fire going very easily with little effort, and now it's burning for us rather than us maintaining this fire and adding more material on top. So it's going to continue to eat. Then we can quickly transition to larger material once those flames get above the initial fuel source, and that way we have a maintainable fire as well as a sustainable fire by adding larger material that will take longer to burn, so we can go off, do other tasks, accomplish other things and survival priorities, and then come back to our fire later on. Now a technique to boil water in a canteen cup is get 2 sticks, put them through the handles of the cup, and then just pull the sticks in until they bite. Now we can put this over top of our fire safely to begin boiling our water. This is actually how we had to boil water in the survival phase of SERE training. Our final fire test was natural tinder material. We could use a ferro rod, and then we had to collect up all of our fire material, dig a trench, and then start our fire and boil a half a canteen cup of water in less than 10 minutes. So you only start with your ferro rod, your canteen cup with water, and then your natural tinder. I used Fatwood. They tell you got 10 minutes, and then you go. I was able to get my water boiling in about 3 minutes. And we're boiling. Good to go. When we have a low bed of embers like this, or a low fire, we can just take our fire stick and make a flat spot where there's some hot embers. The easiest way to do this is just grab the canteen cup, If we have liquid we want to heat up or boil, put it into the stove, and then just put it right in the fire. To get it out, all we have to do is just grab our multi-tool, grab the canteen itself, and just remove it from the fire, or manipulate it if we have to. Now if we don't have food, we harvest game with whatever methods are available. There are a variety of traps, snares, we can use firearms. It's squirrel season, so we're gonna harvest squirrel and get it cleaned out. The technique is splitting out the back and then just simply tearing the skin. Get some bark here so we can clean up out of the dirt. You wanna leave your tools out while you're cleaning. That way you can clean your tools instead of putting them back in the sheath and having potential bacteria or pathogens getting into that sheath, and now your knife is going to remain permanently unclean, so keep it out. All right, we got the skin cleaned off. Now we just need to gut it. Too easy. Liver looks really good. You always want to inspect the organs before we cook and make sure this animal is going to be safe to eat even after cooking. And so far, all the organs look exceptional. What we're gonna do is just take a steak, big one, steak up in the squirrel. We have a cross section, 2 of them. We're gonna take those crosses, stick them through and behind as best as possible. And now our squirrel ready to go over the fire. We can move the animal up and down on our spit. And now all we have to do is build up the fire, clean up our tools, take care of ourselves, and then come back and continue to cook. So we went down to the creek, washed off our tools, got all the blood and guts off of them. We can take them and just wave them around the fire. 1, to dry them off, but then 2, to burn off any excess or any other guts or blood that's on there and help make it a little bit more sterile. I want to do this very long, just long enough to actually dry out our tools and hopefully burn off or cook any of the pathogens that might be on our blades now. And once we're satisfied, we can put our tools back on our belt. Now, one important distinction is that we are not trying to heat up the metal. We're just trying to cook the outside to destroy any pathogens and other viruses, bacteria, protozoa, or parasites that may be in that squirrel meat that we used these knives to actually cut up. That way we're protecting ourselves and we have at least somewhat of a sterile tool going back in our sheath, so we're not putting those pathogens in our sheath and making this tool dirty every time we use it in case we cut ourselves and then we get an infection or some sort of disease. So we're just trying to clean out the outside prior to actually bringing this knife up to a temperature. We're just trying to make it sterile on the outside. Take this off, put it on our rack, we'll let it cool, and once it's cool, we'll come back for a taste test. Oh yeah. That's some good food right there. That's good. Tastes just like a chicken wing. Alright guys, I appreciate you joining me for this video, kind of a different format, more of a discussion on our patrol bag survival kit. Again, we have that water kit, we have shelter, very field expedient shelter, something that we can throw up quick, fast, and in a hurry. We have food, which is going to be very, very important, and then some fire starting tools, as well as our belt tools and things that can go inside our pockets, not necessarily just inside our patrol bag, but then our patrol bag itself. All of these items make up that excess space on top of our mission essential equipment that we have to take out for a day, 1 or 2 days or 3 days, or maybe even longer, and to be able to survive and provide for our most basic needs. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment in the comment section. I always appreciate your feedback. I want to thank you guys for everything you do for me, for this channel, for your likes, your views, your subscriptions, your comments, your feedback, and your shares. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.